Hello friends, welcome to this module on deploying custom tags. Fine. In the last module, we had seen what is a custom tag, how do we develop a custom tag. Fine. We had seen that there were three kinds of custom tags. We had a simple tag, fine. We had a iteration tag, and we also have a body tag. So now in this module, we will just like to see how do we develop such these kinds of tags and what is required for deploying them in a web application. Fine. Towards the end, in the last module, we had also seen that we should be creating some kind of a TLD file. So, we will see how do we create a TLD file, what kind of content goes in a TLD file, and we will also develop a couple of tags. Fine. We will be developing some simple tags. For example, in this case, we will be developing a tag for getting the current time, find current date and time in our JSP. So, in any JSP, if I want current date and time, I should be able to say, okay, this is the current time of the server, and if I want, I should be able to show that. But then you might require formatting. So, we will see how we can do that. And another tag which will be used as a iteration tag, we can have some kind of a count, a for tag. Fine. So, we will create two tags, a now tag and a for tag. So, this will be used. The main idea here is to demonstrate how a tag can be developed and then later how it can be deployed in a web application, what is required for deploying it in a web application. Fine. So, let us go on to the further demonstration. Okay. Fine. So, let us begin our demo. Fine. So, here as mentioned, fine, we will be developing the two tags. One will be a simple tag, we will be developing a iteration tag. The simple tag would not have a body, it is just going to display the current date and time. So, we will call it as the now tag. What is the current time? So, now tag. We will have a tag for the iteration tag, which will be the a loop. Fine. It would have a body content. Fine, but that body content would be evaluated as a JSP and it will be looping. Fine. So, anything which we want in a loop. So, it will have one attribute called count. Fine. We will keep that as attribute as a compulsory attribute. Fine. So, let us begin by developing the tag for the the now tag first. Okay. So, let us start. We will give package name. So, let us start with the package like this. So, we have package org epg pathshala.dad.tag. Fine. And then we will need the appropriate import. So, import javax.servlet.star. We have import javax.servlet.jsp.star. We have then we have the import javax.servlet.jsp.tag extension.star. That is where we have the iteration tag and the tag, fine, the tag, okay. And then we will have the usual thing, which is the IO exception. We will need the import for that. So, import java.io exception. And then we have since we are using date, here we have the import java.util.date, and then we have the import for java.text.simpleDate format. We are going to format the date and time. Fine. So, fine, we will need this also. Fine. And then let us begin with the definition of the class. So, this class implements the tag interface. It is a simple tag. Fine. So, we have public class now tag implements tag. Fine. Now, okay. So, now let us develop the body of the tag. So, within the body of the tag, we go with the instance variables. Fine. According to those life cycle, fine, we will have the two, we will need page context is being set. So, we will save that in a variable called page context, and we will also have another instance variable for saving the parent. So, that is a parent. Fine. And then we will also have an instance variable for our attribute. The attribute here is going to be format. Fine. So, that is of type string. Okay. Fine. And now, let us look at, so these are the instance variables we have, and now let us look at each of those lifecycle methods. Let us add them. So, starting with the first lifecycle method. So, we have this method called setPageContext, right, which takes page context as a parameter. Fine. So, public void setPageContext, parameters page context PC, and now within the body of this, we simply initialize the instance variable. So, we will say this dot page context equals PC. Okay. And then we have the other next lifecycle method is a set parent. So, we have public void set parent tag p for the parent, fine, and within the body we simply initialize the parent. Okay. So, this our parent equals p. Okay. And then the next method which is going to be invoked is corresponding to the attribute. So, attribute here is format. So, we will have a method called set format. So, here is the method public. Okay. Sorry, before that we will need to code the get parent method. So, we have the get parent returning the tag which we have set in the set parent. Okay. So, here is the set parent, the get parent method. Okay. And here we have the return this dot parent. Now, we go for the method for the attribute. The method for the attribute is set format, fine. So, we have the public void set format, parameter is a string, the format string, okay, and within the body we simply initialize the attribute. So, this dot format equals fmt, okay, fine. And now, for this, okay, the next one will be the next life cycle method. After the setting of attributes is done, it is going to invoke the do start tag. So, here is the public int do start tag. Okay. The do start tag has to return a int. So, here fine we simply return the skip body. We are fine, this is skip body is done because this tag is a empty tag. Okay. Fine. So, okay, and then after the do start tag, the next method would be do end tag. It is an empty body, fine, it is an empty tag, and therefore, do end tag is the next method invoked. So, we have the public int do end tag, fine. Now, within this do end tag, okay, fine, we need to have, okay, we would like to give the output now, okay, and the output is nothing but the current date and time. So, we will have date d equals new date, fine. Simple date format SDF equals new simple date format, use that what is the initialization of the attribute which has been done, fine. So, we use that attribute, fine. See, we have kept a default value also for the attribute, okay. So, fine, and then we have a within try catch we will try to give the output, okay. So, we have the try, we have a catch, within the catch block we simply do a stack trace, printing of the stack trace, okay, and within the try we will just say, okay, we want to, so we will say page context dot get out. So, that is giving us the JSP writer, and on that we are saying print ln, fine. The print ln method here has the throws I exception, okay. That SDF is our simple date formatter, fine, simple date format, and on that we call the format method and pass the date object, okay. So, that is what is for the do end tag, okay, and then we have the release method, fine, okay, fine. We forgot the return for do end tag. So, here is the return for do end tag, tag dot eval page, fine. So, that is what that should be our, this is going to be our for now tag, okay. So, that is how we develop the now tag, fine. Now, let us move on to developing the other tag here. The other tag here is the for tag, okay. The for tag is going to be developed, okay. So, here also we will put the same package, fine, we will start with the package entry, okay. Once the package, now let us use the import declarations, so, fine, the standard import declarations which are needed, fine, the import declaration for the servlet, okay, the import declaration for the JSP, the import declaration for the JSP tag extension, and then the import declaration, the usual one which is for IO exception, okay. And then, okay, and then we will also need here, okay, fine, we do not have, we have not used anything extra here, right. So, here we have, now let us develop the class here, the class, so we have public class for tag which implements the iteration tag. While implementing the iteration tag within the body, fine, we will need those instance variables, fine, those two are the standard things. We will have the one for the page context, we will have one for the parent. So, there is a parent tag, okay, and then we will have one for the attribute. The attribute here is count, okay. So, let us have the count, fine, and then we have after the count what we have here is we need the set page context implementation, fine. Set page context is standard what we had done earlier. So, let us just proceed with that, fine, just initializing the page context. Same way we will also have the parent initialization being done, Okay. And then we need to implement the Getparent method. So, that is here, it simply returns that parent. Okay. So, that is done, fine. And then the next one is the life cycle method called do start tag. So, do start tag, yeah, what do we do? Okay, we have the attribute first, right. So, for the attribute we have the set count method, and in the set count method we simply initialize our attribute, fine. This dot count equals the parameter there C, okay. And then of course, now we start with the do start tag. Okay. The do start tag, fine, public int do start tag, okay, within the body, okay, within the body of the do start tag, okay, we will have count. First we decrement the count. So, fine, if because see this do start tag, fine, we decrement the count, okay, fine, and then we return the, if count is fine, if count is fine, it should be count is less than or equal to, fine, okay, fine. See, this is just to have a initial count, and we do not need actually the count minus here, if the count is 0, fine. So, we will have return if count is less than or equal to 0. Okay. So, initially if the count is 0, fine, we would like to skip the body, okay, otherwise include the body, fine. And then we will need to also code for the next method would be, if it returns eval body include, it would be invoking the method called do after body, okay, fine. This also has to return a int, fine. In the do after body, fine, we will say, we will simply return, in the do after body, since the body evaluation is already done, fine, let us decrement the count first. Okay. So, we decrement the count, fine, initially, fine, and then depending on the count, okay, if it is 0, fine, we can just simply have a similar thing here, okay, fine. But only thing, the return value has not to be eval body again, it can't be eval body include, it is nothing but eval body again, fine, which is actually in the iteration tag. Okay, fine. So, this is what we have in the do after body, okay. And then we have the do and tag, okay, fine. The do and tag does not have much, it has to just simply say, it simply says continue with the rest of the page. So, it says fine, return tag dot eval page, okay. And then we will of course, we will have the release method, okay. And release method we do not have anything, fine, we do not want to do anything else, fine. So, initially just check this out, right. Do start tag is called before the body evaluation, fine. So, here if the count is already 0, we do not want to proceed. So, that is why we have count check, fine, count less than or equal to 0, fine, we skip the body, okay, otherwise continue, fine. And whenever it continues, we just decrement the count, because the evaluation has taken place when it calls the do after body, fine, evaluation of the body has taken place. So, we have a count, a decrement of count, and then check for the count whether it has become less than or equal to 0, okay, fine. So, that should be fine. Okay. So, fine, this is what we have for the iteration tag, which is a for tag, okay, fine. And then we go for the simple tag, okay. In the simple tag, fine, it's everything is going to be within taglib and slash taglib, okay. And here we put tlib version 1.0 slash tlib version, we have to specify JSP version, which is 1.2 we are giving here. Okay. And then we give a short name to our tag library. So, we will say short name is simple. Okay. And then for every tag which we have a tag, fine, a tag called tag. So, we have our XML tag called tag and slash tag. So, within tag and slash tag for our now tag, fine, we will do it first for the now tag, fine, we will give the name as now. Okay. So, that is a now, fine. We will associate it with our implementation class. The implementation class is org.epgpathshala.dad.now tag. Okay. And then what kind of body content do we have? The body content here is empty, fine, it is an empty tag. Okay. So, we put empty content, body content is empty. Okay. And then if we have attribute, we will put attribute and slash attribute. Okay. We have one attribute here, the attribute here is format. So, we will put the name as format. Okay. Name is format. Now, whether it is required or not, so we want it to be optional, fine. If it does not give, we anyhow have a default value for our format. So, we will make it optional by saying required is false. Okay. And then runtime expression evaluation. So, we will say okay, that should be done. So, if someone uses an expression, fine, for the value of the attribute, that should still work. Okay. So, this is what we have for the for tag. Now, let us do something for the iteration tag, which is now fine. Now, this is the one which is for the for tags, fine. Now tag is done. So, we have okay. So, we have tag everything between tag and slash tag. Okay. So, within this the name is for, okay, name is for, the tag class org.epgpathshala.dad.for tag. Okay. And then the body content here the body content is to be evaluated by the JSP engine, and therefore, we will just say body content is JSP. Okay. And then we have the attributes, fine, the attribute is slash attribute, we have attribute called count. Okay. So, we will say name is count, fine. Now, here this we want to keep it compulsory, and therefore, we will say required is true. Okay. And then we have the runtime expression evaluation is true. Okay. So, it allows the expressions to be there. And so, that is what we have for the simple.tld. Okay. So, we can save this, okay. And then we have the one for and then we write our JSP file, fine, the way we are going to use it. Okay. So, in a JSP file, if you want to use this from a JSP file, we have the declaration of @taglib in our JSP file. Okay. In taglib, we will say URI equal to, fine, the place where we have saved our TLD file. So, within our application, we have the web.nf folder, and there the simple.tld file has been saved under tld/simple.tld. Okay. And the prefix there is, so here we have declared prefix equal to simple. That means, within this JSP, wherever I will be using any tag from that TLD file, okay, will have a prefix of simple. Okay, fine. Then it is a HTML. So, we have the declaration of HTML headers, head and slash head. Okay, we go for the body of the HTML slash body, and then within this, okay, let us have some header h1 as home page, and then let us have okay, we want to go for a simple use of the simple tag called now tag. So, we can put it like this, fine. We can just say that is how we are using it, right. See, within h2 what we have done is we have said simple, that simple actually comes from the prefix, okay, which is there in the taglib, and colon after that, that now, the now thing comes actually from the TLD file. In the TLD file, the name specified here is now. Okay, that is the one, fine. So, this fine. So, when someone writes simple colon now, the simple comes from this prefix, okay, and the now, fine, this comes from the TLD file, which is here. Okay, fine. And then we would like to use the other tag, which is the for tag. So, in order to use that tag, that tag can contain a body. Let us put this particular tag which we have used, that h2, into a for loop. Let us do it 5 times here. So, we put a for loop like this. So, we have simple colon for, fine, and we have the this is compulsory attribute. So, we are putting attribute as count equal to 5 and we need to end the tag. So, this is the end of the tag, fine. So, this is our simple home.jsp which we have done for our fine. This is what we have done for our JSP file. Okay. Let us check all the files here. TLD file, is it okay? Yeah, okay, seems to be good. Fine. So, that is how we develop the fine. So, fine, the steps were for developing a custom tag was have a implementation class, fine. So, these are the two implementation classes, have a TLD file, fine, which does all the declaration, place it in a folder and then start using it. This is how we use in a GSP, fine. So, this is how you should be able to start using your things in a GSP, fine. Let us just quickly try out, okay. Let us compile the thing, okay. So, we compile the code, fine. Let us compile the code like this. Let us go to the directory EPG Pathshala, we have the folder called SRC, that is where the source is there, right. Okay. So, let us compile like this, okay. Fine. So, to compile we will say Java C minus D, the destination we have put straight away the folder for the web application classes folder, fine. Okay. And then the class path, we are giving the classes folder within the class path, fine. We are giving the servlet API.jar and the JSP API.jar which is available in the Tomcat, fine. So, those we are using in the class path and then we are compiling the star.java file which is in the tag folder, whatever are the Java files there. So, fine, let us compile this. Okay. So, they compiled, fine, and now let us try using them. Okay. So, before that we will need to start the server. Okay. Okay. So, let us start the server, creating a tag, a custom tag, fine. So, okay. So, first, fine. So, if we summarize, we have first we need to have the creation of the we need to write the implementation classes, implementing tag for a simple tag, fine. We have implemented the tag interface, fine. We have also implemented and we have got another tag which is for the iteration tag, fine. So, we got the implementation classes. Once we have the implementation classes, we can create our TLD files, fine, where we map, we give a name. Okay. So, there is this tag, when we have the tag entries where we give a name and map it to our implementation classes, fine. And we also give what kind of content it is, what attributes we will have, whether the attribute is compulsory or not, fine. So, all those things are done and then we start using. To start using, we just simply have to use the @taglib, okay. Specify the URI and give the TLD location and give a prefix which we will use locally in this GSP file. Okay, fine. So, that is for this module. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.